Wonderful to have another discussion with you. So look, we've got a lot to cover off today. So I think let's dive right in. So kicking off, you're known around the world for your expertise and insights in the open recognition space. You describe yourself as a proud badge nerd. So what is open recognition and why is it important?
So I've sort of come at this over the years through EdTech. I began at TV Ontario back in the day. I started there in about 1989. I like to say I dragged them kicking and screaming onto the internet when they were still more concerned with the 500 channel satellite cable universe. And I said,
Wow.
there's this thing called the internet that you might want to know about. So, and then obviously they're out there on the internet. So I left there in about 2000 and was sort of looking around for what to do. And an ex-colleague from TV Ontario basically advised me get into career stories, telling people's career stories because it was very hot right now. So I got into that and I did these things called Career Destination Manitoba and things like that. And then I got more and more interested in the notion of portfolios, telling your own story as it's evolving. So I got involved in e-portfolio. So what I like telling people is that it's a very sad story, but my honeymoon was at an e-portfolio conference. But it was in France, in La Rochelle, and I'm still married, managed to reproduce, and gosh, the conference is back in Paris this year. So, and I'm now co-producing that conference. So,
That's not a sad story at all, then. It's actually a wonderful
exactly.
story. Yes.
Starts out sad, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
basically so I got involved in recognition through that. So recognition of what you know and can do and ways of assembling evidence around that. But over the years got a little frustrated with I would say mostly academic approaches to e-portfolios where it was basically a learning portfolio and it's almost like a torture chamber for students where they had to reflect, and then they couldn't wait to escape it, etc. So
Hmm.
and it wasn't really something that it wasn't fulfilling its promise. Became a lot of just another academic silo. So roll along to 2011, Mozilla invents open badges. For me, sometimes I call that the singularity
Ah.
because all of a sudden you could do something over here, and whether that's learning, whether that's performance, whether that's something in the community, you could have that story encapsulated in a badge, and then you could carry it forward to new opportunities, unlocking new learning, unlocking careers, unlocking maybe just a larger role in your community. So for me, that was e-portfolio in bite-sized pieces, much more accessible, much more progressive, more visible, and so it was very exciting. So the days of Chicago City of Learning, et cetera, back in the day. So that was basically when I drank the Kool-Aid um, and brought actually badges to the ePortfolio conference. So I was starting to help program it. Mozilla came to the EPIC conference in 2012. Doug Belshaw had just joined Mozilla at the time, and so he was telling people about these badges, etc. And we sort of it's grown like Topsy. It's grown at that conference like a virus, I sometimes say, in a good way.
I was going
Um,
to say we have to be maybe clarify this good bad good
yeah,
virus, right? Good conference, good history. Yeah. Okay.
and over the years, it's evolved so that open badges were a flexible container for recognition. And that it was a very interesting way to talk about notions of recognition. And so over the years, it's become more and more about recognition and less about the badges themselves. It's more about the practices of recognition. So the
Hmm.
badges, which can be micro-credentials, can be non-formal badges, can be informal badges. They're just containers for recognition. That's the way myself and the other people in this community I belong to now, this international community, that's the way we think of it. So open recognition is something that is can include formal recognition, can include credit-based recognition, can also include workplace-based recognition, can include recognition in the community, can be interpersonal recognition. So the idea is just to be clear about what you're recognizing and then backing that up, having justification for what you're saying because it's very transparent.
Hmm. And when you say interpersonal recognition, can you expand on it? What do you mean by that?
Well, for example, I'll give you a non-formal example first. We're working with COFA, and they were actually at last year's EPIC. It's the Ontario Coalition of Adult Educators in Ontario for
Hmm.
minority francophones. So they've developed a competency framework for adult educators, professional competency framework, and they are encouraging the workforce in Ontario to challenge for badges and say, I think I have the evidence to demonstrate this skill at this level, and here it is. And here's a colleague who says I have this skill. So it's an endorsement by a colleague.
Okay.
So that's a non-formal example, but it can also just be, thank you for helping me, and I issue you this badge on a sort of a person-to-person basis to say that you made a difference for me. Mozilla actually, MozFest, they had a whole activity built around that one year at the MozFest. I recognize you for this. I recognize you for that.